Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I'd show you an update on some HVs I've been working on. To start with a bit of recap, I did get this Aardvark-CS out to the workshop now. I fixed up the storage on it, or basically separated the 40K storage controller and split it up into two smaller harvest controllers. I wasn't able to keep nice even numbers or anything like that, but I ended up with a 25K and a 17K harvest controller instead, which is actually 42K. I did reduce the ammo bay by 2K though, so that's you can kind of see how everything was manipulated a little bit. I ended up doing this by completely using a console command to blow away all the container extensions in the creation and starting over. As they were all integrated throughout the body, and real pain in the butt to work with. But other than that, it is up on the workshop now. It's a unusual creation designed to do POI assist and salvaging and things like that. It's got all the bells and whistles on the inside for like clone chamber and trauma station and constructor and all that fun stuff there. It does have 4 positron turrets on it, which can help reduce or help take down a shield of a POI, but it is really meant to go with another vehicle going in on a POI. So this one's kind of a support utility creation slash salvager, and then you would kind of want to bring yourself like a main tank or something with you. With the combination of the two, hopefully have a fairly easy time taking down the POI. This also, when it's out in the combat field, I guess you could say, has a lot of these turrets that are really set up to deal with ground troops and drones. So this could really focus on that, and if it gets within range of the POI for the positron lasers to shoot, it could also help reduce the shield on the POI. But that's, you know, it's an oddball creation, kind of a weird set of rules and things that it's doing. But yeah, for the most part, I'm pretty happy with it. It's we'll see if anybody finds any use of it. You know, it's I know an HV for a salvage is probably not your best plan, and a lot of things on here. HV with a flatbed on it, probably not the best plan. But you know, it kind of works for what it is. So let's see how it goes. Anyway, let's move on. Let's take a look at some at this heavy tank here I've been working on. So this is rendition 1. I'll show you the updated version here in a bit, but been really working on this thing quite a bit. From the last video, I first showed the really early version of this last week. There's a couple comments that were brought up, and one said it was kind of wide and it would be kind of hard to get around. So what I did with this version is I manipulated a lot of things on it. I slimmed up these front thruster housings some more, and actually put them inward a little bit as well. And I did the same kind of thing with the back ones. So at the end of the day, it's not as wide as it was. I reduced the overall width by 4 blocks, so 2 blocks per side. And it actually comes in at the same width as the Paladin tank over here. Now the Paladin tank, I mean, this one's way longer, but it is actually the same width as the Paladin tank. So it's not ultra wide like it was before. On this version here too, I got rid of the other turret holder I had back over here, the weird angled things, and I started working with the idea of building up some kind of like wing thing like this to hold some turrets above the artillery turret. And this would be like a location where you put your higher end turrets on the tank as they're further away from the front, which would probably take the most amount of damage. Anyway, moving on, let's go to the much more completed version. And this one, actually, I kind of finished up the hull, bottom of it too. So I'm actually pretty happy about this one. So I kind of worked out the front thrusters a little bit more, got them attached to the main hull. I worked out the back thrusters a whole lot more as well. Kind of did more separation, so they kind of look like they're more of a standalone thing. And they're supposed to look that way. They're supposed to look like they're not directly attached to the chassis, and then they would have their own like suspension or maybe even some steering capabilities to them, something like that. I changed a lot of the block work on the back side of the tank, used a lot of these thin blocks and half blocks, and try to make it look more rigid, a little more like armored plated kind of thing, where the back of it previously was a little more bubbly. Kind of had these big wide angles like that. On the version I showed on the video last week, it actually kind of had a sports car look to it, and I kind of wanted to lose that. I didn't want it to look like a sports car from the back end. So I ended up with this. I also rebuilt this wing area over here. It's now got 3 turrets on it and a couple of these pulse laser fixed weapons, and a couple more of those pulse laser fixed weapons right on the front side of this as well. These prove their worth in combat for certain situations, especially if you're dealing with a really rough POI and you're trying to get a shield down and there's some ground or cover around, like a hill or crevice or something like that. You can kind of poke out of, run a few volleys at it and tuck back in. And you can't really do that so well with the turret. So I thought that was kind of a useful weapon to have on here, as some of those to, again, for shield takedown. Now this will have turrets that also are going to be attacking the shield. So it won't be just that. It's just, it's a nice added little part there, I think. So that's why I added those in. I wasn't originally going to have any fixed weapons, or maybe just like one Gatling gun for the sentry guns, but after some more gameplay and me getting this thing blown up yet a second time, I decided that maybe I should try those out, see how that works out. Anyway, this is kind of where it's at right now. The hull is just about done, including the bottom side of it. Let me get this off the ground a second here. I think I should be high enough. Oh, there we go. And yeah, here is the underside. And I kind of built that up too to look kind of like a underside of a car chassis or something like that. So yeah, you can kind of see the separation in these front thruster areas. It fell on my head, but over here as well. So anyway, it's a lot of stuff. I got some more blocks to put in the corners over here and get that worked out. It's running. I don't know why it wants to fall on my head. It probably ran out of fuel. That's probably it. Yeah, it did run out of fuel. Speaking of getting around with this thing, spec-wise, it's pretty quick right now. Now the hull is currently built of steel and hardened steel, kind of a mixed bag right there. Now I think I might get rid of all the steel and run the base hull material as hardened steel, and then add in some combat steel in select locations. I think would be my current plan. But right now it's pretty agile, doing 78 strafing, 78 forward, 39 reverse. Y'all's pretty good as well. And driving it around in this weight level and things like that is kind of a pleasure. It's got strafing for days. It can very maneuverable, agile. It can climb up the steepest rock faces I've tried so far pretty easily. It just can outpower whatever it needs to get up. So I'm liking that. Now, granted, it's going to be heavier with the rest of the parts to finish up the tank and all the shield parts and that kind of thing, and storage. But I'm going to make the hull heavier too, so those numbers are going to drop, but I think it'll be pretty acceptable even after they're dropped down. So when I do release this, I still plan on releasing this as a Core 9 build. And one way I can really save a lot of CPU, at least initially releasing it, is to cut a lot of the thrusters. I got it set up so you can take out 6 total of these large thrusters, which is a pretty significant chunk of CPU. And then kind of work from there and see what kind of turrets and shield parts and everything else I can get into it at that level. But that would be a way to get it into a Core 9 slot. But to be honest, to be fully realized with, a good set of turrets on it and, a good shield system and everything like that on it and all the thrusters in place, it'd probably be looking at 4 to 6 quantum cores. To be honest, I think that's ballpark where it will end up at. But you'll be able to get it in operational to some degree at a Core 9 level. And that's kind of the target goal right now. And keep in mind, it's not going to have all these are placeholder minigun turrets again too. So I haven't really figured out what turrets are going to go on here yet. I will keep only these back ones. These will probably remain minigun turrets on the back portion of the tank, and that is these guys are just for they don't have a direct line of fire to the front, So these four would be in their own little group, and they would be just set to shoot at the drones and the ground forces and things like that. Kind of cover the backside. What I've noticed too, when you're fighting POIs, especially if there's a cluster of POIs and ground troops all over the place, is you can barely see them. You're focusing forward here. It would be nice to have some weapons on the backside to help, shoot the guy with the rocket launcher that's standing over here and that kind of thing, and not have your main turrets deflect from the POI to go address those kinds of things. So that's why it's got those guns back there. It also has a drone hatch here too, and this is kind of a weird spot. It's right under the wing. I do have to test this to make sure it works out okay, but I believe it should. It's got enough clearance there. But kind of a strange place for a drone hatch, but I didn't want any drone hatches on the front side of the tank, and I couldn't really do it down the middle because of the artillery. So back over there, I think would work out pretty good. And the reason why I wanted a drone hatch so badly on here is if you're down on like a hell planet or a really just nasty planet, and you don't want to get out of your tank, but you're blowing up POIs and you got loot out there, the best way to get that loot is to fire up a drone from inside your vehicle and send the drone out to go get it. And that's why I really, really wanted to have that drone hatch, but I didn't want to put it anywhere up on the front side of the creation because, first of all, any of the doors that you use with an HV are super flimsy. And you could double up the doors, but then you got two flimsy doors instead of one flimsy door. They're just so low of hit points, and they blow out instantaneously if your shield's out. That I just didn't want to play games. So I'm trying to protect even the drone hatch opening on this one. But again, the end goal of this tank is to build a legit heavy tank that can take some hits with the shield disabled and keep on trucking, basically. And also, of course, have a potential of a lot of firepower to put on a target as well. And good line of sight for the most part. I like the MCR and Scorpion, and that has a lot of turrets and a good line of sight and things like that. I just didn't want to do that same kind of stacked level design as I did with the MCR N and this one and the Phalanx Siege tank. I've been kind of in that rut of every time I do a tank, it's like, oh, notch, and just build up the turrets around the thing. This one kind of does that, but it's just the blocks are a lot different, so it's not doing a formation like it was on the other ones, and I kind of like it more because of that. It's not, it looks a little more distinctive as a little bit more legit, I guess you could say. Other than that, that is all I've got for today right now, and I'll just keep on working on it, and I got to get the interior built, I got to get it textured up, got to figure out the CPU and where I'm going to put the armor, and balance the weight and all that fun stuff and whatnot. I plan on this thing for it's probably not going to have much in storage in it at all. It will have probably, I'm actually thinking about two separate ammo bays on here, like maybe like 2 8 or 10K ammo bays, separated in case one gets hit. You got another one. It's kind of like more of a backup thing. So that's kind of my goal, is to have somewhere between around 20K or 16 to 20K of ammo storage, but separated into two ammo bays, and then try to protect that. Also with explodey parts, fuel tanks, generators, CPU core blocks, expensive parts. I'm going to try to push those more towards the inside mass of the center area, and kind of harden up the walls around it. Again, more of a level of protection so it can take some hits after the shield is down, and see how it goes from there. But other than that, please let me know what you think, and that's all I've got for today. I'll probably have another video probably Wednesday, hopefully get some more work done to this thing and see where it's at then. Other than that, you all have yourself a great day. I'll talk to you later.